Hi, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the CJRF Solution Series with the Right Energy Partnership. I am Nalori Chakma. I belong to the Chakma tribe from the Chakma Autonomous District Council. I work with the REP Secretariat and I will be moderating today's program. Before I go through the agenda, we want to thank Hillary and the CJRF team for giving us this platform to share our work of the Right Energy Partnership. And to all our speakers who has taken the time for this session. So to go right to the session, our 60 minutes program today will be divided into 3 sections. The first section will be on why human rights and Indigenous people rights matter. So we will be talking about our campaigns that we support. The second one will be on enhancing access to renewable energy for Indigenous people. So this will be on community-led energy solutions. And the third part will be more of an interactive session where we will be using the Jamboard. We would like to take note of all the ideas and thoughts of our participants. So please stay till the end. And so before, just some simple house rules, please mute your microphones if you're not speaking, and we will have 5 minutes Q&A for the first 2 sessions. And if you want to ask questions, please put it in your chat box and you can raise your hand or ask directly to the speakers. So what we are going to do is we are going to now show a video of our REP video. And after that, Robbie, a project coordinator of REP, will speak on, will give an overview of REP. So yeah, so we can go on to the video now.
So, good evening, everyone. I'm Roby Halib. I'm with the Kalanguya and Kankanai Indigenous group here in the Philippines. And I'm part of the Secretariat of the Right Energy Partnership with Indigenous peoples. The video that was just shown provides a context no, on why the Right Energy Partnership with Indigenous peoples was established. Because a lot of energy projects are being implemented in indigenous territories without our free, prior, and informed consent. And yet we have the least access to energy. And most of the time, we are also being evicted from our territories in lieu of these energy projects. On the other end, our sustainable lifeways has been sustaining the resources in the forests, which includes the water resources, which is one of the key source of energy no, for electricity, for electricity use and also for irrigation for agriculture use. Now, in terms of the activities that we are implementing, we are approaching the recognition and respect of indigenous people's rights in the energy transition in two ways. One is through the campaigns supporting indigenous communities in struggle on the ground, communities who are affected by energy projects, communities whose rights were violated by, for example, hydropower projects that are being implemented in their territories. And this will be shared later by two of the campaigns that we are supporting in Nepal and also in the Philippines. Now, our work in the campaigns is being supported by the CJRF. The other aspect of the work that we're doing is promoting community-led renewable energy initiatives. And we are doing this in partnership with UN agencies, one with UNDP through their small grants program. They have committed 1 million every year from their GEF grant to support community-led renewable energy projects. And we started the project in Honduras, in Latin America, in El Salvador, in Africa, in DRC, and in Cameroon, and in Asia, in Timor-Leste, Nepal, and Cambodia. We're ending the first phase, and we'll be coming out with case studies on challenges, lessons learned, and recommendations to guide us through the partnership with UNDP for the second phase of the support for community-led renewable energy projects from the UNDP Small Grants Program. We're also implementing a South-South exchange supported by IFAD between Indonesia and Malaysia. Adrian Lasimbang, who's one of our board members in the REP, is taking the lead in this. And this is an example, no? The South-South exchange that we are implementing in Indonesia is an example of how indigenous peoples can support indigenous organizations, how indigenous organizations can support each other in terms of innovations and knowledge on renewable energy. So those are the two approaches that we're doing in relation to the work of the Right Energy Partnership with Indigenous peoples. Now, aside from that, we're also engaging in advocacy work at the regional and global level. Next year, Goal 7, the implementation of Goal 7 in the Sustainable Development Goals will be reviewed. And this is one of the things we're looking at in terms of how states have been implementing this goal in relation to the realization also of indigenous people's rights and needs and priorities in line with renewable energy. So we're engaging, for example, at the regional level with the Asia Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development, and also at the global level with the High Level Political Forum, the ECOSOC Partnership Forum, to promote the work of the REP, but also to highlight the impacts of renewable energy projects to Indigenous peoples and the contributions that we make to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. So Joanne is already in. Maybe she can add more to the brief introduction that I provided on the REP. Joanne?
No, go ahead, please. It was not easy for me to find a quiet room here in the UN, so apologies for being late.
I just added a context on the video. Maybe you can add the global advocacy on the REP.
Now, okay. Of course we're bringing the issue of the right energy partnership in different avenues, including here in the business and human rights. Bunny will be speaking actually in one of the sessions to highlight his work on renewable energy. I think he's presenting to either tomorrow. So that's one of the avenues where we can present, at the same time also raising the issues of the potential human rights violations from renewable energy projects, including the transitional, what we call transitional mining, right, or transitional minerals. That was at least highlighted in the climate change. I was in several events on just transition where that was clearly registered as an issue. So that's at least at the global level, where we're also optimizing avenues to raise attention and awareness to these concerns. And of course, aside from human rights violations, is of course the issue of social equity that on the just transition. Back to you. Hello.
Thank you, Joanne. Naluri?
So to start with the first session, we are, like Robbie said, right now REP is currently implementing a project on promoting a human rights-based approach to renewable energy, which is supported by CJRF. And we have two speakers for this session. Lulu are from CPA, Cordillera People's Alliance, our country partner in the Philippines. I would like to invite her to speak now. Is Lulu there?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
the mic
here.
is yours, Lulu. Yeah.
Okay. I'm supposed to give an update on the Apayao dams. Just a minute. Okay. The plan to generate power from the Apayao River and some of its tributaries now involves the construction of 7 large dams. These are Calanasan 1, Calanasan 2, Ginid 1, Ginid 2, Maton, Sikapo, Tabayagan, in the province of Apayao. These are, the targeted capacity is 830 megawatts. So these are really large dams. The highest is more than 200 meters high. And the construction of all these dams will result in the submergence of the entire municipality of Cabugao and large portions of the neighboring municipalities of Putol and Calanasan. The people of Cabugao opposed the plan and have made their anti-dam position known to both the government and the general public since 2015. But the project proponent, Pan Pacific, the Department of Energy, the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples, or NCIP, and the governor of Apayao province have persisted in trying to force the dam projects upon them. They have maneuvered around the rules that are supposed to guide the process of securing the people's free and prior informed consent, and they have fabricated memoranda of agreement supposedly entered by elders and leaders of Kabugao with Pan Pacific and the NCIP on the GNED 1 and GNED 2 projects. The Commission on Human Rights, the Philippine Commission on Human Rights, has begun to look into the whole thing as a violation of Indigenous people's rights. This is a welcome development. I think it's the first case of the CHR looking into this as looking into something as a violation of collective rights. Meanwhile, with pro bono assistance from a number of lawyers, the people of Kabugao have been preparing to sue for the nullification of the fabricated memoranda of agreement for GNED 1 and 2. The people's experience with the FPIC process shows that Pan Pacific and the NCIP, as well as the governor of Apayao province, have little respect for the law. As to the legal judicial process, it is time-consuming. It may result in a court decision to nullify the aforementioned memoranda of agreement, but by the time it does, the GNED 1 and 2 projects might already be underway. Pan Pacific is in fact already poised to start timber cutting to clear the site of the GNED 2 project. It has yet to succeed, however, in getting a permit from the Department of the Environment and Natural Resources. We believe that legal action might not be enough to save Kabugao and its peoples. We believe that the communities of Kabugao have to be prepared to take direct action to prevent Pan Pacific from felling trees and bringing earth-moving equipment and construction materials into the project sites. For this, they must be organized, and that is where we come in. There are two existing municipal organizations in the area, the Kabugao Youth and the United Apayao Environmental and Cultural Organization. But as indicated, these are municipal organizations and they are rather loosely formed. Basic level, solid community organizations are either missing or non-functional. The funds we have been receiving from the REP mainly support our community organizing work in Kabugao, although we have also used these to disseminate information and insights through social media and public forums. The organizing work now includes community leadership training, which we learned was necessary in order to ensure that the communities could run and sustain their organizations and that leadership roles could be shared widely among the members of these organizations. Aside from our work on the Apayao dams, we have also been helping an organization in Lamut and Lagawe in the province of Ifugao campaign on the Alimit hydropower complex. Lately, we have in addition been helping with the campaign of tribal organizations in Balbalan and Pinukpuk in the province of Kalinga on the damming of the Saltan and Mabaka rivers. Challenges. Because of our community organizing, we have been red tagged by the Philippine Army and National Police who operate in Kabugao and the neighboring municipality of Conner, where our main organizer resides. We find this scary because we know where red tagging has led elsewhere in the country. But we simply have to fight our own fear and go on with our work, taking what precautions we can. In the future, we need to expand our work in Kabugao. One reason why it's easy for the police and the army to red tag us is because our work is small. If we widen this, we broaden this, maybe create more impact, then it won't be that easy to red tag us. We are currently working with 6 communities. We should expand to at least 6 more. And we ought to expand to the municipality of Pudtol, where there are no organizations whatsoever. We do not know if we can expand to the municipality of Calanasan. But anyway, some church pastors are doing organizing work there. We are anticipating that we will need to do more work in Ifugao soon, as SN Aboitiz Power. This is a joint venture between SN Power of Norway, now owned by Scatec, and Aboitiz Power of the Philippines. This proponent of the Alimit Hydropower Complex, based on its advertisements on the web, seems to be getting ready to move forward with its project plans. Then there are numerous other large dam projects in the Cordillera, and many of these are outlined for the province of Kalinga on the Chico River, which people died to defend way back in the 1970s and 1980s. Okay. If you want to learn more, please ask questions.
We'll take questions after the next speaker. So think of your questions and you can either post it in the chat box or can raise your hand. So I'm going to call next Praveen, who is our country partner, Chemjos in Nepal, Community Empowerment Social Justice Foundation. If you have a good connection, Praveen, you can speak now.
Yes, thank you, Nalori. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I sent you my slides or pictures to share.
Yeah.
Could you please? Yeah. Okay. Jodalaba, namaste everyone. My name is Praveen, short for Pravindra Sakya. I'm with Community Empowerment and Social Justice Network, CEMSOS in short. And yeah, we have been fortunate to be working as the country partner for the Right Energy Partnership with Indigenous peoples. And as the country partner, we have been supporting hydropower affected Indigenous peoples, Indigenous communities across Nepal. And I would like to share here particularly three stories about three communities that we are working with to explain how we work with these communities and what we have been able to achieve and what the challenges have been. Just a brief context first. Hydropower in Nepal being the second largest or second wealthiest country in the world in terms of inland water resources. Hydropower is touted as the only means for the country's prosperity. Okay, as the only means for the country to achieve prosperity. In that sense, criticism against hydropower projects or associated facilities is rare, and the government or the investors or the business and the companies often only entertain criticisms in the form of technical aspects.
Sorry to interrupt, Praveen. Can you talk softly because there's interpretation going on?
Yes, I am trying to. I'm trying to be as slow as I can. This is the slowest I can go, I think. Anyways, yeah, I'll try to go as slow as I can. Anyway, so yeah, the criticism for social impacts, particularly of hydropower projects, is rare, and that is particularly concerning. Because legal protections in the domestic laws for Indigenous and other local communities that are affected by land acquisition or other aspects of hydropower and hydropower dams and other associated facilities is very weak. So often what we do is we try to get these affected communities to leverage international investors. And yeah, these stories that I'm going to share will show how. No, so the first story is about Tanahu hydropower project. If we can show the next slide, Larry. So Tanahu hydropower project is a reservoir type project, which is again important for a country like Nepal, because most hydropower projects in Nepal are run off the river that generate much electricity during the wet season, but do not generate enough electricity in the dry season. So Tanahu hydropower project, which is a reservoir type project, is considered very important for Nepal's hydropower sector, or for good access to electricity for the population. No, the project is being built by Tanahu Hydropower Limited, which is a wholly owned company by Nepal Electricity Authority, the sole distributor, the sole utility provider in Nepal. And Tanahu Hydropower Limited is getting its financing from international multilateral development banks such as Asian Development Bank, European Investment Bank, Japan International Cooperation Agency, as well as other funds such as the Abu Dhabi Fund, Japan Fund, and also KfW, the German Development Bank. When we reached out to this community, and this has been one of the longest running campaigns for SEMSOs, when we reached out to this community in these communities in 2016, they were already mobilizing for their rights through 2 committees, and but they were unaware that the project was being financed by these banks. So they were not aware about the safeguard policies that applied for them, which through these banks, which had higher protection for indigenous rights, or in the context of involuntary settlement than in the national laws. No, so yeah, by 2018, the communities, many community members were already lured by the project to accept what they offered as higher compensation once the community protest started. But at least 32 families were not happy, were not satisfied with the compensation offers. As a result, what they did was, they went on to complain with the complaint mechanisms of the Asian Development Bank and European Investment Bank. What they were concerned about, if you can move on to the next slide, Nalori, what they were concerned about was that their lands that used to be green and lush like these farmlands, we can keep scrolling, that these lands, that had irrigation canals, that were their grazing lands, that they had their rest houses there, were gradually being encroached. Yeah, can we stop here? We're gradually being encroached, because of the inundation. While the inundation has not happened yet, the extraction of resources has already taken place. No. And as a result, they were not being able to live off this land anymore. So yeah, if you can stop here, Naluri, that is why they had actually, for the last 2 years, these 32 families who did not accept the compensation offer, saying that the compensation offer of the government would not provide them a replacement land as valuable as theirs, or as productive as theirs. So they had lobbied with the national authorities, including the ministries, the district authorities, as well as the local governments, but their concerns fell on deaf ears. So if you can move on to the next slide. In 2018, they made their first attempt to have complaint with the Asian complaint mechanism of the accountability mechanism of the Asian Development Bank. Well, the Asian Development Bank did not find the complaint eligible in 2018. In 2020, and actually recommended a local dispute resolution process, or a national-led dispute resolution process. Again, that did not satisfy their concerns or grievances, because, as I said at the beginning, the laws of Nepal do not recognize national indigenous rights, or the right to fair and adequate compensation. So in 2020, again, these communities filed another complaint with both Asian Development Bank and European Investment Bank. As a result of their complaint, studies have been undertaken that have found that these communities, that these communities face specific socioeconomic impacts as indigenous peoples, and the land valuation undertaken by the
Praveen, your time is up.
Already?
Yes.
Okay, has not been fair. Okay, then I'll just if I can just move to the next slide, then I'll just wrap up here. So yeah, here we have been supporting these communities to engage in these dispute resolution processes with through the complaint mechanism of the EIB, and yeah, this is one of the representative cases. Again, in other cases, we have similarly been supporting communities affected by transmission lines that are these are indigenous Taman communities in north of Kathmandu, and also besides these projects that have international financing, we have also been able to support communities in eastern Nepal. These are Maji people, indigenous fisher folks who are dependent on Sunkoshi River, one of the main rivers of Nepal, and that whereby the government is planning to build a cascade of dams. In all these support to the communities, we basically follow first action research. We don't need to go down slowly, Nalori. We basically follow action research. That's the first thing that we try to do by looking at the project documents that are available on the project sites or project on the investor sites. Then we try to do community awareness and then support community mobilization that can happen in the form of public actions, as well as lobbying with the banks. And but there has also been challenges. That is, that is the backlash from the government against the community leaders, as well as against us as the supporting organizations. However, challenges aside, we are grateful to the Right Energy Partnership for helping us to support these communities. I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Praveen. Anybody, if any of you have questions, please, you can raise your hand, or you can put your question in the chat box. And in the meantime, can you click the link that we have sent in the chat box? We want to see what does just energy transition mean to you. And there will be, then we can see there will be a poll, so you can enter whatever, whichever you can basically enter all these three boxes, no, in the 25 letters. So please, we want to see what it means for everyone, because we have been using just energy transition a lot in a lot of our in our meetings and in our policies as well. So please click that, and also your questions. We'll wait for 5 minutes, because we have 5 minutes for Q&A. So these are the words that is coming up for now, which is shown. We are sharing that energy with justice, thriving community, affordable, rights-based, sustainability, participation. We are seeing justice, alternate technology, energy development, participation. So we are coming to why we wanted to do this is because we are coming to the next session. We'll go to the next session if nobody has any questions for now. You can also unmute yourself. So, all right, we'll move on to the next session then. And you can still raise your questions at the end. And please, you can still put your questions in the chat box. So moving on to our next session, while we are supporting these campaigns on large renewable energy projects, at the same time, we are also supporting and promoting community-led energy projects, which are, we call it Indigenous-led energy solutions. So we have speakers from Asia, from Latin America, and from Africa. I would like to call Adrian Bani Lasimbang, who is also our board member. If you are online and if your connection is good, you can turn on your mic and.
Yeah, thank you, Nalori. Sorry, I have been having problem with my my webcam, so I cannot use my video. But anyway, I would like to share just some of the our experience in Malaysia with regards to promoting community-based renewable energy systems. Before that, I just want to acknowledge also what is so important when it comes to moving or advancing access to energy is actually to have very important partnership. We are actually thankful to have partners of different organizations. So in Malaysia, we have been partnering with different energy hydropower practitioners around the region, particularly through the HPNet network, and of course through the Right Energy Partnership. Currently, we are supporting the technology exchange within Malaysia and Indonesia through our program with IFAD. But the most important part of having community-based renewable energy is also to promote what we call community-based mini grid systems, because there are many options of providing electricity, but a lot of the current electrification program is limited to providing lights, and I think for the purpose of more sustainable development is quite limited. So that's why for us, we have been promoting particularly the micro hydro that to support actually more information, more socioeconomic spin-off from the systems. So for us in Malaysia, we have been trying to look at there are four main elements of community-based renewable energy systems here. So in the community-based renewable energy mini grids, we are not just displacing the fossil fuel from the diesel and petrol gensets, but we are also enhancing conservation through community-based watershed protocol. And in Sabah, and particularly, we have been engaging with communities to use traditional knowledge and also our native law to protect our environment. And in the conservation part of it, the watershed is so important because we need to ensure that the flow of water continues to be to sustain the system. So we have been using the Tagal system, which is a traditional management of natural resources, and use the concept of Gompiguno or use and protect. In the same time, our organization also look at technology development. So we have been doing a lot of exchange among the HPNet network, which provide us the opportunity to look at indigenous-led technology advancement. So with Tony Bung, we have a center called Create Borneo, where we develop what we call smart grid systems to enable community to manage the system more sustainably. The third element is actually community ownership, because it is so important that the energy is actually in the hands of the indigenous communities. And we have created a community-based model that allows community to own these systems through innovative financing mechanisms such as pay-per-use, or even looking at in the context of payment of ecosystem services. So we have been doing this for the last 15 years in Malaysia, and we have established over 40 systems, especially within the island of Borneo, within Sabah and Sarawak. And the fourth element is actually economic empowerment. And this is actually very important to ensure the sustainability of the mini-grid system, because if we are not able to generate enough system through the economic spin-off, it is very difficult for the community to have the resources to maintain. But because we integrate right from the start by having what we call participatory design process, we have included many systems, including like rice mill, food processing, agro processing equipment, and so on in the system right from the beginning, based on the aspirations of the community. So by doing so, we have able the system to generate enough revenue to sustain the operations and maintenance in the long run. Some of our systems have been in place for over 20 years now, and it's still running, and it's all operated by the community. So this is something that we can replicate in other parts of the world. It's just that we have to provide enough space for the community to be involved in the planning, implementation, and also the management of the system. So I think I stop here just to show that there is possibility for community to own those systems, and there are a lot of potential for community-led solutions for us in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Bani. So again, we'll take questions only at the end of the sessions when all the speakers are done. May I request Nestor to, if you have the connection, you have the floor.
Good morning. Good morning. I want to share my screen.
Bueno, en primer momento comentarles que soy de El Salvador.
I'm from El Salvador. I'm part of the Nahua people, Indigenous people. I'm part of the National Coordinator Council of El Salvador. It's a national organization in El Salvador, and we work with 3 indigenous people, Pueblo Nahua, Lenca, and Cacahuila. I'm going to share all the work that we have been doing related with if that looks to contribute to transform the energy, the conventional energy to an energy more sustainable and more friendly with the resource, natural resources. We have been working with different organizations in the west area of the country. So we know about the challenges and needs that the community have at territorial level. One of these is related to the access to basic service development of their livelihood, and one is related to the access to energy system. When this initiative starts with the opportunity to present a proposal to contribute with families from indigenous people, families from Lenca and Cacahuila, we have our first communication with the community. We start a planning process with them, to design with them a proposal and to present to the different operations. When all these initiatives are taught for the territories, we should not be looking this aside of the realities of indigenous people. That's why we were looking for 4 different phases in our work. The first is related to a starting dialogue with the community, and we had been territories and have virtual meetings because this initiative started when the pandemic was starting, and most of the meeting had to be virtual. This was not really a limitation because people were really engaged and they were connected, and then it was the option to move to the territory. And then the second part was about what were the needs and priorities of the community, and how each family was related to engaging to this process. Then there was the process of design of the proposal with coordination of the entity in El Salvador. The moment was when the police notified that we have been assessed to work, and the fourth phase is related to the implementation of this initiative.
Nestor, we have just 1 minute to wrap it up. We have just 1 more minute.
Perdón, si pudiera tener interpretación. Perdón, sí, gracias. Entonces, bueno, estas fases, digamos que en esta lámina un poquito el mapa donde está la iniciativa, 2 lugares, un municipio de Guatajía y uno que se llama Cacaopera. En Cacaopera vale la pena tener
Cacaopera, it's important to know that at least 80% of the population is indigenous people, and in Gotas de Agua, and 70% is women.
Digamos que esta iniciativa nos ha permitido beneficiar 2 pueblos indígenas, el pueblo
This work has permitted to work 2 indigenous people, Cacahuilo and Lenca, approximately 640 people, and we have some lesson learned and challenge. And the lesson learned we have when we work this kind of process, the full and effective participation of the community is the most important part, and emphasize the work of women and youth. And it also is important to establish network with other stakeholders like local government and other governments, other organizations. It's good to have a good governance at local level to develop this initiative to, have the outcome that they have defined. The big challenge is the monitoring and of this project because it should be from the community.
Surge también en este tipo de proyectos siempre la necesidad de ampliar
And it's always important that to go to scale up to other areas in the same community or other communities.
sigue siendo, digamos, necesario la consolidación
It's important also strain the organizational structure at local level and also work the advocacies at national level.
Termino presentándoles
Want to present this slide where you can see part of our work. These are houses of Cacahuira family where solar panels were installed. And this has contributed to that the indigenous family have access to the energy. And even in that local area, there is a river, the community is a priority cover their access to cover their energy access. I just want to let you with that slide. Please, any questions, just let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Nestor. Can I now, we're running a bit out of time. Can I invite Dr. Yusufa to take the mic? Yusufa, are you there?
Yes, I am there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Let me come. Okay, my name is Adamu Yusufa. I am talking from Cameroon. In Cameroon, we have two indigenous community. We have the forest community, and then we have the pastoralist Mbororo community. The forest community, they are the pygmy communities. And the project has been implemented in 5 different areas, in 2 indigenous Mbororo communities, and in 3 indigenous forest community. So if you can look at the pictures, maybe you go back to the first slide, Alori. Yes, we can start with this one. One of the project implementation area in one of the pastoralist Mbororo community is for the production of milk. When they installed the energy in the community, the women profited to preserve their milk and yogurt. So when you see that woman is bending like that, she is struggling to remove milk from the cooler. So they use it now to sell and generate income. And the income they generate can also help the community to manage the project. You can go to the next picture. Okay, this is a solar panel that has been installed in the Mbororo community. So they were ready now to install the solar panel on the top of the houses, at the on the zinc of the houses. If you can go to the next picture, you see when they are doing the installation. Yes, so this is when they are doing the installation. Now they are putting the solar panel on the top of the zinc so that they can now generate energy from this to charge their telephone, to use for their television, and also for their coolers, for the preservation of their milk. Can go to the next. Yes, so this one is when they are introducing the women on how to charge their telephones. so that they can use, when it is installed in their houses, then they will use it to charge their telephone. Before now, they have to cover long distances to go to the villages far off to charge their phone. But today, with the installation of this project, installation of this energy project, they can charge their phones in their houses. Can go to the next. Yes, so this one is when they are introducing the women, they are showing them all the materials, how to use it if it is installed. When you look behind them, you see the solar panel standing. So as they are sitting like that, they are showing them on how to use the materials when they want to charge their phone, how they can charge their phone. Formerly, they used to go to the villages, just give their phone to the person responsible to charge the phone. But today, they have been trained on how to charge the phone themselves. Can go to the next. Yes, they are still showing the women on how, you see, the person putting those sticks is the technician, and the people beside are the women in the community. They are showing them on how the installation is being done. And go to the next. Yes, this is when it has been installed already. They are showing them on how to put on the light and put it off when they want to use the solar energy, how to put it on and put it off. Next. Yes, this is when they were doing the installation at the start of the process before the last picture. Move on. Okay. Yes. So go back to the picture that you passed. Okay, this is within the forest community where they installed. When you see those women standing outside in front of the house, this is inside the house. They have installed a television. This community, they watch the African Nation Cup in their house. They are also watching the football, the World Cup now within their home. So some of the important, the impact that of this project within the community is that the students and people could now read at home using the solar light. And also women could not go for far distances to go and charge their telephones. Then there are also, they have lighted prayer grounds, like their mosques, like their dancing clubs. So before now, the women for example, like in the forest area, they have to move. Or they have to move to the village centers, maybe for entertainment and so on. So they were facing a lot of issues, for example, like in the forest area with the Bantu communities, whereby when they are coming back late in the evening, some of the young girls are being raped and so on. So today, since they have their installation at the level of their home, since they love music, they can have their music at home. They could no longer go out to the center of the village. So one also important issues I want to raise here is that within the Mororo community, within the pastoralist community, in one of the installation area, they have installed this solar system, this light in a neighbor's house who is a community leader of a different community, which is not an indigenous community. So it has now strengthened the relationship between this Mororo community and the non-Mororo community. And also within the forest area, the women can now sit outside and sell their non-timber resources. Since there are lights, they can use the light to sell their non-timber resources in the evening when they come back from their farms, which did not exist before now like that. I think generally these are some of the important impact or important
Sorry to interrupt, Yusufa, your time is up. Just can you wrap it up in 30 seconds?
Okay, let me wrap it up with in 30 seconds. So some of the challenges that this community face, especially the forest people, the Bantu neighboring community, since they don't have light, they came now to their community. They steal some of those materials, some of the solar panel that they were using, and they go with it. And in certain community, they abandoned this installation and went to the forest, left their houses for rent to the Bantu community, for example, for 2,000 or 3,000 francs. But at the end of the day, the Bantu community do not even pay the amount of money. So I think these are maybe some of the challenges that they face. And in another community, these logging companies came with their truck to charge the batteries of their truck, and it exploded and caused a lot of destruction on the solar panels. I think briefly, these are the issues. And then I don't know whether Basiru, maybe if the time is still there, whether Basiru has something to add. If not, then maybe I'll wrap up here since my time is off.
Thank you, Doctor. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you to all the speakers. If you have any questions, please raise your hand or we do have 2 questions. One is, how do you ensure the most marginalized people in the indigenous communities, whether women or persons with disabilities, are included? I think already Bani has responded to that, but maybe the others can respond.
Okay, can I go on since I'm on?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the strategy used in Cameroon is that they have a management committee. Within each village community, they have a management committee, and it is the management committee that decides where the solar energy has to be installed, so that those vulnerable people within the indigenous people are not left out. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Bani, do you want to respond to that question, or like that's it, that you responded in the chat box, but in case?
I just want to reiterate that in every project you have to do a feasibility study, because sometimes we often forgot that we thought this community might be feasible, but the selection of the community to have their free prior informed consent, whether they are comfortable for us to do the project at the community level, is so important that we have to bridge this gap of trust. I think a lot of the NGOs or many organizations doesn't spend enough time for building trust. So that is why I think in any projects within indigenous communities, we have to spend enough resources to build the trust within the implementing organization and also the communities, and also spend enough time to have capacity building in the community level. And I think focus group discussion is a good tool for having better consultation instead of just doing it in a large group, because there are different aspirations within women, youths, and men. We always, if it is government project, normally they will just go for the leaders, and normally we are not able to capture the aspirations of the women and also the youths. Yeah, I think that's a few points, but what already Yusufa have I think shared about the importance of having community community-based committee to manage those systems.
We thank you, Bani. We are running a little late, and I think Praveen has raised his hand to ask a questions, and after that I'm going to ask Joanne if you're still there to do the closing for us. We are 1 hour more, so yeah, please ask away. Yeah.
No, it's not a question, Nalori. Just a couple of, just my 2 cents on the issue of inclusion of women and other marginalized groups in the development of community-led projects, because SEMSOS also did a pilot community-led renewable energy project. The approach that we took, besides the strategies that has already been shared by Yusufa and Adrian, is also to have a dedicated fund for for women, indigenous women or other marginalized groups, so that we can support support specific a specific program or socioeconomic strategy as part of the community-led energy project. The example is like, so we did the micro hydro project, and we also said provided a seed fund for this local women's group, whereby they could use that micro hydro plant during the day when the energy was being wasted for their livelihood, milling the grains, and yeah, so that was the strategy. And on the question about from Robbie, I think rather than fighting these projects one by one, I think what we need is a paradigm shift on the part of the renewable energy developers as well as the investors. That gives equal priority for safeguarding rights of indigenous peoples at par the production of renewable energy. I have to run for my other meeting, so I just wanted to say that before I sign out. I thank you again, REP, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Pravin. Bye. Can I please request Joanne to do the closing for us? I know we are way out of time, so we'll close it with
just to close this very interesting exchange on the experiences of our partners. Of course, this is to thank everybody for joining in this event, and just to say that there's really a lot of opportunities and need for Right Energy Partnership. I am fully convinced that that we need to strengthen it further, as there are many indigenous communities needing support, but there are also a growing interest among donors to support Right Energy Partnership. So I am looking forward to a strengthened Right Energy Partnership next year, also with the strengthening of the board and the secretariat of REP. So again, just to say thank you to all the participants, and of course all the allies and donors in this meeting as well. So I hope it has been useful to everyone, and please feel free to share the information about your work. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. And thank you, everyone, for
Thank you, everyone.
joining.
Okay.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.